Hey Bookaholics, so welcome back to another reading vlog. In this vlog, we are going to be doing another spoiler reading vlog, but I am not alone. Welcome to another of the Coven Reads Romantasy. In our previous round, we did get the complaints, mostly by the staff, that we did not actually read a romantasy for the romantasy read along. So hopefully this time round, we will be reading a romantasy. Yay! Some things have arisen throughout this video, including the destruction of books, which I appreciate may be very, very impactful on some people. Therefore, I would like to assure you that the book is definitely safe and has not endured any life-threatening injuries. The characters in this book do actually use a plethora of pronouns. One of the characters in particular, Arcady, has been listed as gender non-conforming and uses any pronouns. So any pronouns that you wish to apply to the character would be acceptable. So some of us have used they, some of us have used she in this particular context. I'm sure you'll still be able to follow with no issue. With that aside, in this video we are talking, of course, about Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb, who is an author I have read from before. I don't think anyone else in the video has read from before, and this is a romantasy, the first book in a duology, and it is following two characters, the first one being Everin, who is a dragon, and the dragons have been expelled from the human realm for a really long time. They were initially expelled by humans, and therefore the dragons resent humans. However, it has been so long since the dragons were expelled and they took their magic, the humans have now come to revere the dragons as almost gods. We are following it also from the perspective of Arcady, who is a human with a tumultuous past and a rather criminal present. And we are also occasionally having the perspectives of both Soren, who is an assassin, and Cassia, who is Everin's sister. The romance level in this isn't particularly high, and the spice level is less than 1 chili pepper, so do not fear if that is something that you are not normally into. And I hope that you will enjoy the array of thoughts that we have throughout this video.
I have unsheathed Dragonfall. Let's get started. Oh, the cute little dragon on the cover. Oh, I like it. Got kind of like dragon splat on the side though. Hello everybody, my name's Ray from the Ray Loves to Read channel, and I'm so excited to be joining my fellow witches for episode 2 of our romantasy read along. Faye has chosen Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb, and I already had this. This is the Goldsboro edition and it's very fancy. I did kind of get a paperback copy from Vinted so I can read it and be a bit rougher with it, because this is a really lovely copy. And I don't know much about this one. It's been on my Dragons shelf, and oh, let's see if I can show you. You might be able to. Oh, can't get my finger in the right place. We've got quite a lot of dragony books here, many of which have frolicking dragons on the edges. So yeah, I am excited to get started. The last male dragon, a desperate thief, a bond that will save the world or shatter it. So yeah, very excited. Don't know anything about it going in, so I'm not going to to talk any further until I've got going. Can't wait.
Hi, my name is Rachel. My channel here on BookTube is at Reading Fairy, and I'm so excited to be on Faye's channel so that way we can read Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb, and I have heard mostly good things about this book. I feel like I haven't met anyone who is like super, super obsessed with it, but everyone who has read it that I've seen on their BookTube, on Instagram, whatever that may be, it's always a positive review. I don't even know what this is about, to be perfectly fucking honest. Dragonfall, Dragonfall. This YA. I actually have no idea if this is YA or adult, but I think it might be queer, and it's supposed to be romantasy. I'm not always the best judge of character based on the summary if there's going to be a romance or not.
Rachel's lied to me.
But I expect this one to have a romance. I can't wait to read this, and thanks again, Faye, for allowing me on your channel. Hopefully I don't embarrass you.
Hello, Face Channel. I'm Nair from Lady May Reads, and this time we are reading together Dragonfall. Is this gonna be the actual romance book we read? Who knows? Who knows? What is this book about? I've got no fucking idea. I've heard this second person. I think I've heard there's also a point of view from the dragon. It's a dragon, guys. It's a dragon. Of course I'm gonna read it. It's a dragon. That's about as much as I know. Is it gay? I don't know if it's gay. Am I projecting? Because I do like the gay romances. I don't know. Their bond will save the world or shatter it. That sounds kind of cool. I have no idea. I'm going into this completely blind. What are my expectations out of this? Hopefully an actual romance. Thanks, Rachel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to watch the Green Teeth one.
Rachel's lied to me.
Yeah, if you know what Green Teeth is about, you know. Yeah, so what is this? What's my expectations? Have a good time. There to be really, really good dragons, and not just like the bog standard, like all those dragons and magical shit that make them dragons, you know, like Aragorn dragons, where there are actual beings and have actual characters.
You have no idea.
Which I can go on a rant about that, but I will restrain myself. That is what I'm hoping. Robin Hobbs blurbed it. Exactly what you love in a fantasy. This is giving me hope. I know Rachel's already read this from the point of me starting this. She is not giving me hope. So we will see, we will see if I like this. I'm going to read to the checkup point that I need to check where the checkup point is because their memory is bad. Then I will hopefully check back on you. And ooh, look at that cool map. That's kind of I love a good map, not gonna lie. It was kind of cool. There's a lot of mountains. Am I procrastinating reading? Yes. So I'm gonna put this phone down and actually go read, and I need and stuff, and I will check back on you hopefully later, and hopefully I will like it.
Okay, I'm here to check in after part 1. So I have some thoughts. I'm not hating it, but I'm also not finding myself super engaged. I feel like the writing is simultaneously really descriptive, but it's also not exactly descriptive enough as far as like the setting goes. I can't really picture the setting. I also feel like I'm not getting to know either of these characters because right now we're following 2 POVs, Arcady and I can't even remember, Everin, I believe his name is. And their stories kind of like connect for a second and then now they're separated again. But I don't know, there's just something about the writing where I feel like I'm not getting to know them and everything that we're reading is like surface level. And at this point now, I'm 23% into the book. So really by this point in most books, like I would hope that I have a good understanding of the characters. I have a good connection with the characters. And to be perfectly honest, like I don't even like really know what's going on. The writing it's good, but it's also written in a way that's like mildly confusing because there's 2 POVs and one of them is written in first person and one of them is written in first person but like with a mixture of second person in it. And I don't know, the tone is just like, I don't know, I'm also just kind of bored. Like I feel like nothing has really happened yet. I mean, at the part where I'm at now, these 2 characters have just like met again, like met for the second time basically. And like I think part 2 will be more interesting, hopefully. But yeah, basically like Everin is a dragon who kind of goes through this portal to a human world in this city called Lochmoria, I believe it's called. And he accidentally stumbles upon Arcady, who is like robbing a tomb in some temple thing. And he bonds to her accidentally, or them actually. I think they might be gender neutral. He bonds to them. And there's like no reason for this bond. They don't even really interact. He kind of just comes through this portal, sees them like robbing a tomb, and like, you know, they're humans, so they had to light a torch because it was dark in here, and like he's a dragon, so he's like, I can see what's happening. And like, I don't know, they don't even really interact. Arcady just kind of like passes out for a second, and then he tries to like feed them food, and then Arcady leaves. And I'm like, their first interaction was so weird and so like disjointed that I'm like so confused where the fuck this like bond came from, because he's like in his head he's like, oh, I've bonded a human for the first time and my people haven't bonded a human in centuries. And I'm just like, okay, but why? Like, why are you bonded? Like nothing even happened. Unless I missed something as a reader, which is entirely possible because I'm not gonna lie, it's boring me a little bit. So there are a few times where I've been like, oh, I just read that whole page with my eyes, but not my brain. And then I have to go back and read it again. I did actually buy Audible specifically to get this on audio because there is no way I'm getting through it without some help. But there are some positives. I like the setup for the magic system. There are these seals, kind of like an amulet people have to wear to help them channel their magic or in tune their magic or something like that. Not sure exactly how that works, but I'm intrigued by it. And then there was a scene where Everin was actually speaking to a brothel worker, and she kind of explained to him how gender in this world is assumed to be neutral unless you tell someone otherwise. And so people go by they, them so frequently unless someone specifically tells you I'd like you to call me she, I'd like you to call me he. And I thought that was so cool because honestly it makes a lot of sense. You don't assume that someone wants to be a she or a he identifier just based on their haircut, their body shape. You shouldn't assume that, and I love that. And that's how it should be in our world, honestly. But, that's not the world we live in, unfortunately, and a lot of people refuse to acknowledge that there's more than two genders, which really fucking is stupid.
Got to talk about something that I thought was quite important in this book, and that's the way that they conceptualize gender in Lochmeria. So the way it's kind of seen in this particular world is that it's not something automatic, it's not something predetermined, but as people get old enough, they kind of realize their own genders and then their pronouns and everything change accordingly. It was a really good kind of almost lampooning of the way that gender is kind of traditionally seen by something that Morel says. And Morel is, as we know, is the siren I found a particularly interesting character and wanted more of. Morel leaned towards me, eyes crinkled with mirth. You're getting it a right sight faster than the Jaskians. Had a few come my way after borders opened again. They're all married to this idea that the shape of your body is what you are and all you can ever be. Be modest, but cover up your body in a cut of clothing and wear your hair in a way that announces the shape of your genitals. She snorted. They didn't like it one bit when I pointed that out. Guess since down south they aren't keen on magic, physical strength is all that's left. So I just love the way that she describes the way that society traditionally sees gender, in that the way that we present ourselves, the way that the clothes that we wear, the way that we do our hair, all of those little signifiers are announcing our genitals. And I just thought that was a really interesting way of putting it, and a way of kind of showing how we are kind of put into these various molds by society doesn't necessarily represent who we are, and how arbitrary it is, how, we do kind of have kind of a binary system that's based on really very little than, kind of the physical form we're born into, and how all of our socializing is kind of led from there. And obviously it's different in different societies and in different cultures, but I just thought that was a really interesting passage, a really interesting way of putting it, and yeah, it caught my attention. So I just wanted to come back from the future now that I've got the book in hand and tell you that that was a passage that I appreciated.
But yeah, I think there are positives. There are some things that I'm enjoying, but if I was reading this just for myself, I would definitely DNF it. I'm pushing through this for this video and for Faye because I don't want to let you down.
And this is the real romantasy of this book.
And be like, hey, just kidding, I'm DNFing it. I'm not sending you any clips, but I shall persevere. And I hope that I'm proven wrong. I hope it gets more interesting. It feels like there's a lot of buildup, and I think it's book one in my cat. I think it's book one in a series, so it makes sense that it feels like a lot of buildup, but also there's so much going on, and there's a lot of info dumping, and there's just too much description, but also not enough description. I don't know. I'm hopeful that it will get better though, so I'll update you again after part 2.
Hello, I have finished part 1. Page 95. Oh my god, it's taken me so long to get here. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. I really don't. Because let me tell you, I'm actually enjoying this. There has been no spice yet. I didn't expect any. But I'm kind of liking the characters, and yet, for some reason, the urge to read is not there. Like, when I pick it up, I'm like, cool, fine. But it's tidbits. I'm reading in tidbits. And 100 pages, 4 days. It's taking 4 days to get to 100 pages. What is wrong with me? Am I in a slump? Who knows? I am in a weird mood right now, and this is the perfect brain book for the brain mood that my brain is braining. And yet, let's talk Dragonfall. There has been dragons. You cannot say there has not been dragons. It opens up on the dragon scene. Fucking love it. Going through this portal with the prophecy. Obviously, you think prophecy and go, prophecy again. No, this kind of worked kind of cool because it's a prophecy around a dragon, and dragons can write, but dragons are not always dragons. They have a petriot form, which I had to Google what the fuck that was. They can, like, write and change and be kind of humanoid with wings. I'm thinking in my mind, Maximum Ride by James Patterson. That is what's going through my mind right now, and I'm reading them in their petriot form. I'm like, Maximum Ride by James Patterson. It's in my head. If you've read it, you know. To be fair, if you haven't read it, what the fuck was your childhood, man? I am liking it. I like how it opened up. I like him. He's probably my favourite. I like his narrative, right? This is playing with narrative, and I like it. So Everin is first person, but he's also has the you, because he's talking to you, meaning Arcady. I love that. I love it. I always want it all to be just like that. What is souring me is that Arcady is also in first person, and that would kind of all have suited better if you just had her in third, or just not sure. Again, I don't know what happens. I don't know anything else. I love that it's playing with narrative. But then, what is the other POV? I'm getting my notes. Yes, I take notes, okay? I found what I wanted in my notes. There's a third POV in third person called Soren, and I really liked her. She basically killed somebody with poison and watched them die and then cried after. And for some reason, her character feeling that deep emotion and doing something that she was tasked to do, because I don't quite know why this person died, but they had to die for something. They did something, so that was the consequence of their actions. I don't quite understand what they were doing. I really like her. We've only had one chapter from her, but Everin draws me. Everin does. To be honest, the world does draw me as well. The world is interesting. I like the fact that they have like sign language to state their gender, of like you meet somebody and it's like, oh, by the way, like you just do a quick hand gesture saying like I'm a they, or I'm a she, or a he, or whatever. I quite like that. It's kind of refreshing because it's very easy, subtle way of just letting people know, kind of going, what gender are you? And other people being annoyed. You can just kind of be like, yeah, sure, whatever. And you just do a quick gesture and you're not actually asking, you're just like telling somebody what gender they are, and then they can refer to you from that gender. I like that. I like that a lot. I also like the world. I also like how the magic's kind of working, how they kind of worship the dragons, but the dragons like hate the humans because of what the humans did, and the humans forgot what they did so much that they're worshipping the dragons that they basically stole their magic from. I want to see, do you know what I really want to happen? What really want to happen? I want Everin to kind of bring forth the other dragons back into this world, because they weren't in the same world. If you're not following, they weren't in the same. I want them to come, the dragons just wreak havoc. Pure chaos, and everyone go, what the fuck does I do? Like, believing that this is the right decision, and at the moment when he does it, going, holy fucking shit, this was the wrong decision, being kind of so tortured over it. Am I wanting a tortured character from everyone? Yes, I am. I don't know what it is about him. The last chapter we just read, the last chapter was their meeting, kind of second meeting. They met first in like the weird priest thing where she stole a seal for some reason, because her real name is Arcady Ermia, and I'm like, that means something, because she referenced when somebody go to help to set her seal, whatever that is, and she literally was just like, if he found out my real name was Ermia, he would turn me over to the council, like the guards, and just with no questions asked. This person who's like been her friend for fucking 10 plus years, right, would just turn her over like that. And I'm like, who are you? Why? What is happening? Also, shocker, she has the markings of a strike. I think it's a strike. That can then become a strikling? I don't know. That's interesting, because it's something to do with the magic, right? There's something to do with the magic, that they stop people from using who are like this using magic. Everybody uses magic in this world, like every single person. Like, it's abnormal not to, from these seals that gets woven into flesh. Cool, creepy. The magic isn't completely tied to why the lines are there. Like, there's small hints that might connect them, but it's also the case of there's no actual proof that the magic makes this worse. So, I don't know. I'm interesting, but them second meeting, pushed up against the wall by a woman. I love it when these tropes are reversed. Like, the man, usually it's the dark brooding man, just literally pushing people up against the wall, and knife to the throat. Knife to the throat came here. And it was from the woman who did it. And I was like, yes, give me the reverse tropes, right? Have the man be the one at the weakness of the woman, and I will be, am I wanting this in Sapphic? Possibly. I don't know. But this woman power, okay? Reverse the tropes and the woman do it, right? Just do it. I will be there. I will be that reader. And that's why I loved it here. And like a couple of like... a couple of like lines that Everin said had me like, do I want to say drooling? No. A couple of lines that Everin said had me literally thinking he's going to fall first, and I love it when he falls first. I don't know what it is. The tortured man falling for somebody else that they feel like that they can't have. But also he hates humans as well. I feel like this could be trying to go down enemies to lovers, and I don't feel like it's going to be an enemies to lovers. I just don't really feel like that's the vibe I'm getting. But it isn't that insta-love, oh, you're so hot thing that so much fucking Hurricane Wolves is coming to my mind. So many fantasy books do, and I'm just like, I don't care how hot they fucking are. They could be smoking on fire. You can't meet somebody, hate them, and think so much about how hot they are all the fucking time to the point where you are ready to rip your clothes off, jump on them like a fucking tiger, ignore everything, the reason why you hate them in the first place. You don't work through anything. No, fuck off. That little rant aside, I am enjoying this. I'm curious where it's going to go. I kind of do now want to just sit and read. I've now gotten to the point of, am I just going to sit and read this now? Am I hooked in this, kind of what it is? But the Magic Sister, the world building is like probably the most interesting, and you can definitely see how L.R. Lamb has put so much effort into that, especially weaving around like the data them and everything, and how all this kind of works. And it's curious. I do like it. I'm curious where it's going to go. I have not read the blurb of this book, so I've got no fucking idea what the plot is. So we are going to dive back straight into dragons and maybe get some dragon smut. I don't know, but they are bonded together. Unknowingly, he bonded her, but he's also in humanoid form with wings, which I don't know. A guy with wings. People like them, apparently. Looking at you, Sarah J. Maas. But this, I don't know, I like his character a lot, and I like the framing narrative. I like when authors do different framing narratives, so I'm liking this. I'm going to go back and read. Hopefully, it will not take me another 4 days to read 100 pages. But who knows?
Hello everybody. Oh, I'm a bit wobbly today because we're doing this with a selfie stick and downstairs. So, is this working? Sorry if I'm making any of you feel seasick. Whoa, I've just got to the end of part 1 of Dragonfall, and I seem to be using an elastic band as a bookmark. That's a new one. I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm really liking the vibes, but any kind of pickpockety, vague plague lore and exiliness. Oh my goodness, I hope one of the other girls is managing to adequately describe what's happening in this book, because I'm very tired. But I need to record a video because I really want to read on and find out what happens next. We have 2 main narratives here. We've got Arcady, who is a thief, a pickpocket. They kind of ran with a street gang. We don't know exactly what happened with them. And Arcady basically does some kind of a ritual to steal from her granddad's tomb. Her granddad's tomb? Either way, it ends in her binding a dragon from from somewhere else. This dragon is already, I think we can tell, going to be the love interest, and they're not in dragon form. They're wandering around looking vaguely humanoid, but their magic keeps not working so well whenever Arcadia is around. So the dragon, what's the dragon's name? Everin. So Everin the dragon is currently trying to track down Arcady, and the reason why he was running towards this other world, this other fate, was because, I don't know. Prophecy, something to do with prophecy. I am so bad at following storylines, especially when there's quite a lot of stuff going on. So I'm assuming these 2 are going to be our main love interests. My understanding is that in books like Fourth Wing, nobody actually does any doesn't he? Nobody gets freaky with dragons in Fourth Wing, but in Dragonfall, I think it's probably going to go in interesting directions. We do have another voice. What was the name? We have an assassin anyway, and the assassin does some assassinating. And we find out that the assassins, or at least whatever they're part of, are not very fond of people who are selling dragon relics. And Arcady, of course, is looking at doing just that. I have no idea exactly where this is going to go. My understanding is that it was going to be a trilogy, but it is now a completed duology. Emberclaw, which is the name of the dragon actually, it's Everin Emberclaw, which is very alliterative. I have a feeling there is going to be romance between Arcady and Everin. They're two very, very separate voices. I believe it's told, is it both first person narratives? I'm liking it so far. The writing's pretty, it's pretty basic. It's not flowery. So if you need kind of gushy prose, complicated sentences and big words, it's much more kind of serviceable than that. But I'm enjoying this so far. And yeah, I want to know where it goes. And like I say, that's why I'm doing my video when I'm tired and I've just finished work, so that I can get some more of it read, because I'm enjoying it. And also I'm behind on my readings. I've got about 12 books on the go at once at the moment. It is far too many tabs open in the brain. My understanding is that this book is getting very mixed reviews from the rest of the Coven, so I'll be interested to know why that is. Anyway, catch you at the end of part 2. Still wobbling with my stick.
Hey vlog, so I have now finished part 1, which is Cohesion. So far we've been introduced to 3 perspectives, which I have very much been enjoying. The first one being Everin, who is the last male dragon. Obviously that means that the fate of dragonkind does reside on his shoulders, but on top of that he has the gift of prophecy. He can see the past, present and future, but the prophecies are being kind of kept away from him and his seeing skills kept away from him, because the previous last male dragon also had these abilities and had gone mad from seeing all of these prophecies. So then he decides to take it into his own hands. Basically, all of the prophecies around him have come and gone and nothing has happened. So he decides to take it into his own hands. So then when he reads a prophecy that tells him to go towards this golden storm, he does. Enter our second perspective, which is Arcady. Arcady is the grandchild of someone who was deemed a traitor, known as the Plague Bringer. And basically their grandfather was someone who was part of the council in some way, shape or form, someone important, and then later on branded a traitor, and they are basically wanting to restore their grandfather and their family's name. And then the other perspective that we have is Sorin, and Sorin is basically an assassin, and we're following them as they need to carry out an assassination, and we see a glimpse of the relationship with the person who is sending them on these quests to do these assassinations. That is kind of all we've really seen a lot of at the moment. We've found out that Arcady accidentally summoned Everin when they were trying to wield their grandparents' magic. And Everin, following this, has now gone to Arcady. And it turns out that Everin is bonded to Arcady. And that's the full extent of my knowledge as to their relationship so far. So, what are my other thoughts? So far, I'm loving the world building. The world building in here feels very much epic fantasy. I am just going to get out my handy dandy book that I do. So yes, the world building very much epic fantasy in every shape and form. Something that I really love in my romantic fantasy is for the fantasy to actually feel like fantasy, not just a veneer, not just a backdrop. I don't want it to just be the scenery. I want it to have a decent amount of world building, which we've definitely gotten. The prose in here is stunning. I was not expecting it to be this gorgeous, because I've read from LR Land before. I've read their sci-fi Goldilocks, which, because it's a sci-fi, had quite a straight to the point my tone, and this one has a very nice, very well written, very rich writing style, and I really loved that. I'm actually really engaging with how lovely this prose is. We also, within the prose, have a second person perspective, so Everin a lot of the time is talking in second person, and they are specifically talking to Arcady. A lot of their chapters end with a direct address to Arcady. So for example, the very first chapter ends with, "For that human was, of course, you. And this is our story, Arcade." And I love that. I don't know, it adds to the romance somehow, especially because he keeps saying their name. And I don't know, there's something about that just, it gets me. The society and the world in here are not binary. It's a genderqueer society. And basically, there are even conversations around it. So the paragraph was, "It was strange as one raised among only females to find myself among a roughly dimorphic society. What did it mean to be male in this land? To not be the only one? What was masculine or feminine? They did not act notably different in my eyes. Gender was a language I had not learned to speak." Love that so much. Also, with that line, we're also talking about the idea of the male being there to help keep the species alive. And given that a lot of our society is hinged on, women are for making babies, for it to be almost like the guy is for making babies in this one, because he's the last one, so it means that then he is the one that needs to make the babies, but the women don't all need to be making babies with him, just ones that fancy having babies. So it's like the women have more choice in that society, and I found that interesting. We don't get a huge amount about what exactly the prophecy surrounding Everin and Arcady entails yet, so I'm very excited to see how that falls. I'm also, at the moment, I think we only had one Soren chapter as well, so at the moment I'm also very excited to see how Soren fits into this story, because obviously we've got Everin and Arcady who are bonded and who I think are the primary romance in the story, so I don't know exactly how Soren is going to fit in yet. I would like to see more of the women dragon, the female dragon side of things at the moment, because obviously Everin entered in his first chapter into the human world. We are now following him amidst humans of multiple genders, and there are a plethora of genders as well, but we haven't seen as much as I would like of this female only dragon society, and I would find that really fascinating. A couple of other things. So we do have sign language representation in here. Soren has used sign language, meaning that they understand sign language and can speak sign language, so I thought that was cool, and I hope that that continues to come up throughout the book. But yeah, for the most part, I am having a wonderful time with it so far. Very prosy. I am very curious to see how the girls are faring with this, because this is a stylistic choice. So for example, we've got a line here: "Fear and fury with fist fighting, and I hated that fear was better at uppercuts." Like, stuff like that is very metaphorical, but in like a intense way, in a more snarky way sometimes even. So it's beautiful, but it's also quite rough at the same time. So I'm really liking it, but it isn't a quiet taste, I think. I think it is very, either you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it, I think. So I'm very, very curious to see how the girls fall with this one, because I don't think that this is going to be like a unanimous, we're all gonna like it or we're all gonna dislike it type of book.
Good morning. It has been over a week to get me to read part 2, which was 100 pages. I don't know what's happened to my copy of the book. It was in my bag. I think my water bottle kind of leaks, and it, even though it was in the compartment, but it was next to the compartment of the water bottle, it's wet. It's wet. I don't care. I'm in such a fucking slump. As I'm reading it, I'm kind of having fun. But I'm also such a mood reader, and all I want to do at the moment is reread. I just want to reread things. That's all I want to do. Lord of the Rings, Stormlight, I'm rereading them. This, I don't know, like, it took me so long to get through it, because, not gonna lie, part 2, slog. It is kind of a slog. It's a training montage. That isn't a training montage. And it isn't even entertaining as a training montage. I don't like them anyway. The only time you get me to like a training montage is in Stormlight. But he makes it cool, because they can fly. Also, Kaladin Stormblessed. You know. But what happened in part 2? Well, I don't know. Things, they were getting closer together, but not closer together. I cannot fucking stand Arcady at all. I do not want her POV. I want her scrapped from the book. I like her more as a mysterious character from Everin's point of view, rather than having it like Arcady have a point of view. I just don't. I'm not also fond of first person. I like Everin, like that kind of narrative bend, but nope. No. And like we're learning, I don't know, I think we learned a bit more about stuff. You see how much is retaining in my brain from this? There was a little bit at the end where you have a POV from Castia, who's Everin's sister, as they're scrying, talking to Everin and their mother and Milgrist, who isn't their mother, who I thought that was their mother, but I think that it is. I don't know. They've read something about prophecy, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you know something. But he's trying to also get close to Arcady before the Feast of Flowers, which is coming up soon, apparently. I'm just like, and they're planning a heist. So Arcady's planning a heist, so he's teaching him how to steal really, really quickly, which I get for a plot point of view that you need to put that in, but I was so fucking bored with it. Where is the agency? Well, just give me a time skip. Just give me a paragraph or a time skip of him going out stealing and Arcady being like, fucking hell, he picked that up really, really quickly. That's it. That's all I need. I don't need to know everything about it, okay? Hang a lantern on it. Don't tell me everything. I don't care. I don't know. There has been no smart. There has been no smexy time. There has been nothing at all. And while the dragon's cool, I'm just kind of getting fed up with it. Like if this was anybody else, I would not push through. I'm a serial DNFer. Right? I DNF'd a book because somebody spat at somebody in a book in the first chapter. I was noped out so quickly. So the fact that I'm pushing through this is a testament to my friendship.
My test of our friendship is boding well, then.
And the thing, I think I might have enjoyed this. I don't know. I don't know what it is. My brain is just not braining right now. So this would have been the good book to pick up, but currently it's not the good book to pick up because my brain is... I don't understand it. I can't really say. I don't really know what happened in part 2. Not a lot. There was this thing about with Soria's... Is it Soria? I don't know. I don't fucking care. I can't care to look. Point of view, which I missed the fact that she was mute. Kind of cool. Don't know why. Is it food choice? Because she was found on a doorstep. Don't know if I quite believe that. And the kind of... It's not Archmage, but somebody powerful found her. Again, I don't believe that. That is giving me kind of Assassin Apprentice vibes, but nowhere near as like good. But there was a mention about a break in a veil that he had to go fix really, really quickly, and is getting worse. And he was revealing a couple of stuff more to her, which, if you tell me, I would say, yeah, I remember that. But at the moment, I don't, because it took me so long to read fucking 100 pages. And I just don't care. I don't care. And I'm on part 3 now. And I'm just like, I have no drive to want to kind of pick this up. I just want to sit down with my e-reader, reread some of my favourite books. That's all I want to do. Faye, you're forcing me to read a book about dragons, which I would not usually complain about, but I am in this instance.
So who's really the inconsistent one? Just saying. Who is the inconsistent one?
I don't know. I don't really have much more thoughts on that other section. Everyone's the best thing out of it all. The other characters I don't really give two shits. But I mean, Soria's fine. But Arcady can just die in a fucking hole. What else do I say about this book? It feels like I've said nothing and just complained, which I have. But what else do I say? Soria's chapters are the only interesting thing I'm enjoying, and everyone's character. That's it. That's it. I'm going to leave it there. I'll leave it to the other girls to give you some probably more cohesive thoughts on that part, because, I don't know, not much happened in part 2, and I kind of wish they scrapped it. I'm going to go suffer and torture myself by continuing this book.
It's me again. I'm giving wet rat right now because I just showered, so pardon me. But I finished part 2, so I'm coming to check in. So unfortunately, I'm still not loving it. Like, it's fine. I'm just kind of bored. There's a scene where Arcadia is teaching Everin to pickpocket, and I was like, okay, cool. They're gonna interact now, so maybe like this plot, this bond between them will kind of make more sense. I mean, it doesn't really make more sense at all yet. And after this scene, I was like kind of bummed because I think the scene itself had potential. Like, she was teaching him how to pickpocket her, and his fingers, like, you know, had to get close to her. And, like, that would have been so great if I cared about these characters. Like, I think the scene had potential, but because I don't give a rat's ass about these characters, it just didn't hit for me the way that I, like, would have wanted it to hit. I'm also kind of still just grappling with some of the terms. Like, there are these people who are, like, called struck, and then there are other people called starvelings. And it has something to do with the magic. I think it's people who it's like maybe a magical disease. I literally don't know because we're not getting any explanation about it. I think Arcady is technically a starveling, but she's like the step before starveling, which I think is a struck. And she's got like these veins, these dark veins that kind of like go through her body that I guess like emanate from her amulet thing, her seal. And so like I'm like I wish like I want to know more about that. It has to be integral to her character arc or something because otherwise why would you mention it? But like where I'm at the end of part 2, we're 50% into the book. Like I need more. I'm just not being given enough, and I feel like it's crazy because the writing feels very info dumpy, but for things that don't matter. For things that actually don't matter to the plot right now. And I'm just like, it would be great if instead of getting like weird info dumps or weird, like random side character descriptions, that we were getting more like about these characters, maybe like backstory. I think part of my problem is that in the first part of the book, part 1, we don't know them at all as characters before their stories collide. And I feel like if the story had started off a little bit slower, maybe like building up Everin's kind of like deal with him wanting to chase this prophecy, because he chases the prophecy, ends up going through the veil, through this portal to the other world, and then that's how he like sees Arcady in the tomb. He kind of like appears in this tomb thing, temple, whatever it is. And then like at the same time, if we had gotten more about Arcady, like why is she stealing this amulet? Like we learn about that after a little bit, but I feel like it would make more sense to kind of have their separate POVs, maybe for like the first like 15%, and then it's like this bam, like collision of these two characters that we're already getting to know, we're already caring about, and then their stories entwine and we learn about like that plot progression. But it's like we're just thrust into this random dragon human bond situation, this random plot so quickly. Like there's no build up, and I'm just having a hard time giving a fuck about what's happening because I wasn't given enough time in the beginning to care about the characters. And then at one point they're like, I don't know, they're in the shower or something. Like there's supposed to be this like tension, like she was like cleaning his hair or something like that, but like they're not supposed to touch because when they touch, like Arcady accidentally sucks the magic out of him because she's a starveling or she's a struck or whatever the fuck that means. There's no explanation for this. We literally don't know why she's sucking the magic out of him when they touch. We don't know, like, what is she? Is she a struck? Is she a starveling? What the fuck are those things? Is it a magical disease? Is it some kind of like zombie situation? Who the fuck knows? Because the author doesn't, apparently, because they're not telling me. And it's like there was this moment where it was like if this book was written in a way that I cared about these characters, I would have been kicking my feet. I would have been squealing. Like that moment could have been great. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, I don't give a fuck. There's tension on the page, but it's like it's almost like a cardboard cutout of tension. I don't know. Like I feel like I'm seeing a facade and there's emptiness behind it. Like there's nothing back there, you know? I will say at the end of part 2, Everin and Arcady kind of like are setting up this situation where they're going to go on a heist with some of Arcady's like criminal co-conspirators, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. Like I love a heist. However, I don't care about the people that are like doing the heist. So I'm really just not anticipating like the heist actually being interesting. But I really hope that maybe the heist itself will be interesting enough that it could, you know, pull me along a little bit farther and like get me to at least enjoy a little bit more of the plot. But like there's also no backstory on these side characters who are going on the heist with Arcady. I think we know a little bit about one of them, the one who kind of like replaces her seal when she like gets a new seal to like change her name or like hide her ancestry or whatever the fuck. Again, don't know what that's about because I wasn't given enough explanation. I also think this book is only like 330 pages, and I'm like, I understand it's book 1 in a series, so like maybe the author didn't want it to be too long, but I just think we aren't given enough time to care about the characters. So like I don't even give a fuck about the plot. I don't care about the plot because I don't care about the characters. I just don't care. I'm so sorry. I literally just don't care. And I want to. I want to so badly. I feel like there's so much potential, but this feels like a first draft. I feel like if I was like a beta reader or an editor, my complaints would be it's not long enough. You need to build up the crossing over of worlds situation at the beginning. Like, don't start with that. Like, literally, everyone is like, I'm a dragon. I need to find this prophecy. Poof, I'm in the human world. Oh, guess I'm gonna take a human shape now. All in like the first 2 chapters. And I'm like, okay, I don't know you. Who the fuck are you? I don't care about you yet. So this like big situation, he's like, oh my God, I'm in the human world. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. And it's really sad because I feel like there's potential and it's just like, it's like falling flat. It's like the idea was good, execution terrible, and I just like want to know like who edited this, because the editor, like the agent and the author all had to have been like read it and been like, okay, yeah, this is good, but like it still feels like a first draft to me. I need more flesh, I need more meat. All we have right now is like bones and a loincloth. like an attempt was made. It didn't all come together, I feel like. But again, I'm only 50% of the way through. Hopefully the last half like beefs up my like caring somewhat. I will also say the last chapter right before part 2 ended was a flashback POV of Cassia, who is Everin's sister. So we do get like a little bit more of a backstory about his sister. His mom is involved. And it's kind of about how like, I guess this prophecy was told to him and like it was kind of a setup, and his mom like knew that he would chase after it, but she like told him about it anyway because like she wanted him, I guess, to chase after it or something, because I think his mom, because you know they're dragons, his mom and his sister I guess want to like conquer the human world or something. Honestly, I don't even know why, but they wanted him to chase this prophecy for some fucking reason. But it's like cool. I wish we got some of that at the beginning, build up his story a little bit, and then it's like, oh, I fell into this human world, and then it's like we learn about this world with him, which we do learn some things about the world with him. Like we learned about the gender expression, how neutrality is assumed unless you're told otherwise, about how there are specific like sign language things you can like indicate to people to like indicate your gender. And I think that aspect is so cool, and I'm glad I liked the way that we learned about that with him. And like I think that scene of him talking to this prostitute at a brothel was literally the best scene in the whole book so far, which is really sad because there have been so many other moments that I just don't give a shit about. And I don't know, I'm really hopeful that I'm not really loving it. I'm not loving it at all, but I'm hoping that in the next 2 parts, I think there's 2 parts left. I'm hoping in the next 2 parts that the heist will be engaging and interesting for me. I'm hoping that during this heist situation, we get to learn a little bit more about these criminal associates that Arcady has. I really hope that through getting to know them, because they're like her friends, like I hope through getting to know them that we kind of see more of her backstory or personality, or like learn about this situation where she's like a struck or starveling, whatever it's called. And I don't know, I'm assuming we're gonna get a couple more flashbacks of Everin's story, but it's like being annoyed at the book for 50% of it. Even if I get what I want in the second half, like I'm still annoyed at it, you know? Does that make sense? It's like you've already annoyed me, so you can't like undo it now. If I get what I want in the second half that I wished was at the beginning, to build the tension and build up the caring about the characters and like show us their personalities, show us the world, show them interacting in the world. I wish we got them interacting in their worlds separately before we saw them both in this human world and then with this bond situation, because then it would have been like, okay, I see Arcady in her shit, I see Everin in his shit, and then you start to care a little bit about each one, and then they come together, and then you're like, oh, okay. And then like, you know, it like the journey, it's journey before destination, as Brandon Sanderson likes to say, right? And I feel like the journey, it's like a zigzag and a pretzel, and it really needed to be more like a smooth convergence, and it just wasn't. I feel kind of bad. I feel like I'm picking this book apart. It's not bad. Like I've read worse things. I just think because it had a lot of potential and because the summary really got me excited to read it that I feel like really let down. I feel like I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And like it could definitely be worse, but it could also be better. But I'm gonna just keep trucking along. I'm gonna hope to gods that this heist is interesting and we learn more about the characters. I think if the next 2 parts give me like enough of that, I could potentially give it like a 3, maybe a 3.5.
Of course you will. What could possibly go wrong?
I really don't see it getting more than that at this point in time, but I will keep you updated.
Hey vlog, checking in because I have now read part 2 of Dragonfall, which is Cohesion. And in this part, we once again have the same 3 POVs as the previous part, and we have an additional one, which is Cassia. Cassia is Evren's sister, who is still in the dragon realm, and she is trying to communicate with her brother so that he can enact the plan that would eventually help dragons return to their original realm, which is where humans are. Throughout this part, we have quite a few discoveries. The first one is we have the reencounter of Everin and Arcady, who then are forced to confront their bond and what they want to do about it. Now, Everin is being told by his family that he needs to actually go through with the bond and then take all of Arcady's magic to be able to open the tear in the universe to be able to bring the dragons back through. And it would probably cost Arcady their life. Likewise, we have Arcady, who is incredibly distrustful of Everin, however, has realized that they do have this bond and wants to sever it. We have that as the primary dynamic. Throughout here, we do have a lot of conversations between these characters around class divide. Initially, we have Everin declaring that he is a prince, and therefore the way he is acting privileged is explicable, to Arcady, who is poor and has been a thief to try and survive. So we do have this dynamic going on there, which was quite interesting. And I really did appreciate the way that this part panned out in terms of them overcoming that divide. We also have a mission element going on in this one, with Everin potentially helping Arcady with their plans. I really do think that the way that this is going to go is still up in the air, like it could go either way. Obviously it's a romance, so obviously it's book 1, so it's whether or not Arcady finds out that Everin was considering killing them and therefore them falling out, or overcoming their issues, falling in love with each other, and then something else happening, or nothing happening and them continuing to be a couple. What I have on my little list of things to talk about, first of all, we are seeing them begin to bloom in their romance. There are definitely some scenes of them kind of being like, oh, that person's kind of hot, which is great because it's slow, because they actually hate what each other stands for. They hate each other in theory, but they actually are attracted to each other. So it starts with attraction and loathing, which I think is really cool. There is also, because of him being a dragon and him hating humans, them being incredibly distrustful of anyone, they're also kind of repulsed by each other's touch, which is going to make for a very interesting romantic dynamic, because it is going to be built on what's in your head instead of with your body, which I think is also very cool. The way that they go about being so sure that they are only in it for their own gain and it has nothing to do with them liking the other person, and that they're spending time with each other to extract something from the other, be it for help or, in Everin's case, to try and force this bond, etc. I think that that was also really, really well handled, because you do genuinely have this enemies to lovers and both of them distrusting and disliking each other. I really like how distrustful Arcady is of Everin, and Everin, obviously we know his inner monologue, so you know that they should distrust Everin, and I think that was handled really well as well. And I also really like the comparisons that they are making to their own lives and their own worlds, the way that Everin is seeing the world that Arcady is in, and actually seeing that his own society isn't that great either, instead of it being this world in which we are a-okay, dragons being a certain way but humans not, or whatever. It's like, it's making him question everything he's known. I kind of hope that it leads to the point where they both want to burn both of their worlds down. They want to start afresh with both. I really like that idea. There are certain comps that I could definitely make with this series. One of them, the world building wise, it's within the human city. For some reason, it's giving me slight Name of the Wind vibes. I think because there's so much emphasis on this institute, on this university, which there also is in the main city that we see the most of in Name of the Wind. And then the romance is kind of a mixture of the romance between Day and June in the Legend series by Marie Lu, which was one of my favorites when I was a teen. And also there's a certain hint of Pride and Prejudice to it, where it's two people who are actually very similar, but due to the way that they've been raised and due to their backgrounds, they loathe each other. And then I imagine that they're eventually going to overcome that and come to see that they actually have a lot in common. And also this whole like notion of they're not touching, they're not falling in love with each other over anything particularly physical. I really like that too. So far, another excellent part. I can't wait to continue. With the romance kicking in, I am kind of assuming that the girls are going to like this part potentially a little bit more if they've overcome the first part, but we'll see.
Guys, it is heating up in the UK at the moment, and I have just reached our next checkpoint, which is the end of part 2 in Dragonfall. And I've got to say, I am much more interested in the world and the heist and what's going on with the two kingdoms, as it were, where the dragons are banished and where the humans are living. I'm much more interested in all of that than I am invested in the romance. And I do love a bit of romance in my fantasy novels, so maybe I would be more interested if it wasn't so... if it had been a slow burn. It's very much kind of like, oh, I don't trust anybody, but this guy who definitely isn't a dragon is, you know, he's kind of hot, but oh no, he got me looking at him, oh! You know, it's a bit obvious, and it's a little bit ugh. So I would much rather have some yearning and, you know, some kind of very kind of slow burny kind of, they start off actually really like not getting on with each other, and then later on they start finding each other more pleasing to the eye, to the whatever, however dragons bond. And yeah, like I know that Everon is, you know, potentially going to kill Arcady, apparently. But, like, you never really get full animosity, or, like, you never really get those vibes. He's immediately protective of them, and it's the ingredients, they're all there. But the romance is very standardy, and I'm not really buying it. But I am enjoying the world. I particularly love the queer norm world in which this is set, and I love the approach to gender, which I think I've already spoken about a little bit. It's kind of, I'm getting a good vibe from it, but sometimes it's not really clear whether, you know, what kind of world this is, because it feels very kind of your typical fantasy medieval setting, and then they'll go to a restaurant and sit outside and order a coffee, and so it's a little bit mixed there, and sometimes the language reflects that as well. Like, I think they've used the words like kind of, oh, it was well something or proper something, and it's like, you know, oh, he was proper scaly. I don't think that was an actual example, but you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of kind of modern language in there, and a lot of the world building is quite, it's okay, it's serviceable. I am enjoying the book. I'm enjoying it rather than like adoring it and have to read more. Like, I like the world. And the characters are, you know, compelling. There was kind of like more chemistry between Everon and Morale. Like, it's almost like some of the side bits are more interesting, and I'd kind of liked it to go more down that route. And I want more of oh, I can't even remember their name. The one that keeps killing people for stealing stuff. The one that's like Shade and Fitz. I like them. I like what they've got going on. I want to know more, but it's just kind of dribbled in here and there. I am hoping that the plot will kind of develop, because again, I'm enjoying this book, and on vibes, I'm probably enjoying it more. It's more my sort of thing than Green Teeth was.
Rachel's lied to me.
But, you know, there are things I like about it, things I don't. It just needs to steer a little bit further away from cliche for me to completely rate it. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. In my head, Everon like looks a bit like Hwoarang from Tekken. you know the guy, this guy. I'm getting Hwoarang vibes. Just the kind of red hair with the millennial side parting. That's what I'm picturing. That's what I'm picturing. Yeah. I wish the dragon was more dragon-like. I wish there was more, like, for someone who's not been around humans at all, for in his head, for him to be like, the woman would look to be in her 50s. Like, that's... If you're not around humans and around their aging process, like, why would you have that, You know, that sounds like a human thought to me. So, like I say, there's a little bit lacking in the world building, but I am still enjoying it. I am still enjoying it. I don't want you to think I'm not enjoying it, because I am. So, yeah, that's where I'm up to. So halfway through, let's see where it goes. Like I say, it looks like we have a heist coming up, and I always like a bit of a heist. You know, I like to feel like I'm playing the video game Dishonored. That was always good fun. So I will catch you at the next checkpoint. I'll catch you at the next checkpoint.
I am trying so hard not to yeet this fucking book across a pond. Into a fire. Into the pond. I'm a serial DNFer. This is a physical struggle for me to keep reading this book. I am so close to Googling the rest of the summary and watching spoiler vlogs and then giving my thoughts on things I haven't read but I've heard about, because, oh my... I'm not enjoying this. Faye, I'm not enjoying this. I love you, but also I hate you.
You all heard her say she loves me, right? You all heard that.
This is the testament to my love. The fact that I am continually to suffer and torture myself with these horrible just characters and oh my god. I DNF books because I get too angry because I don't like things in books. That doesn't make sense, but you're going to work with it, okay? It's taken me so long to finish part 3, and I give no shits. Absolutely no fucking I don't care anything about Arcady. If Arcady was dying in a fire, I would pour fuel on it. I do not care. I like Soren. I do like Soren. The thing with the whole, like, ship burning, that was cool. I was like, give me more of that. Give me more of that. Magnus, sus. Super fucking sus. Knew I didn't like him. And then when he used the relic thing and the pain on nope. Soren is being mute for a reason, and it's her choice. And I'm like, why are people silencing women? Why are they making them hold their tongue? Why are they doing that? What is no, do not like this. Do not like this. Something is up with Soren. Something's got to be up with Soren. Something's got to be up with Soren. But I was reading this with some cool dragon smut, and there's no fucking dragon smut. Where, like, this small slither of something that I knew could pique my interest, but not really as an asexual woman. And there's no dragon smut in this. Nothing has happened. Everything that's happened between Everin, okay, we are going on a full fucking rant. Everything that has happened between Everin and Arcady, no tension. Dry as a fucking bone. It's dry as the Sahara fucking desert, right? And there is nothing there. Then they're dancing on the rooftop, right? Because preparing for this fucking heist that I don't give two shits about anyway. And also, it isn't really in the blurb either. And this is not a heist book. This is meant to be a romance book. What the fuck are you? There is no connection. There is no yearning. There is no showing these characters being closer to each other. There's no Everin warring with himself, being like, I like Arcady, but also my people and dragons and what I have to do and how I have to destroy her, and being... There's small amounts of it. There's not enough. There's not enough of that tortured male character. There is not enough, right? Not enough. And then you have Arcady. Fucking hate her. I just hate her guts. I hate her so much. I just hate her. I hate her, right? But they're dancing on the rooftop. All of a sudden, the tension's there, but there is no tension, because again, it's dry as the fucking Sahara Desert. And they are pressed up against the wall, and everyone's almost like wanting to kiss her. Everyone hates her. He hates her. How the fuck does he go from 1 minute being, I hate her, to next minute, I want to kiss you and everything's fine? And then to add on top of that, literally like the next chapter or next couple of chapters, they are, Arcady is taking on Dwell's form, which I have qualms about world building wise. We will come back to that. Arcady is taking on Dwell's form and everyone offers up his own magical powers. This is somebody who hates all humankind because what they did to fucking dragons. How the fuck does that make sense? It does not make sense. You are totally right. It does not make fucking sense. It does. It is so not good. I can't. I am losing my goddamn. I am losing my mind. But then we come back to people who can shapeshift into other people using their magic. How the fuck is there no, like, security around that? How the fuck do you have people who have magical abilities to impersonate other people so brilliantly that they can shapeshift into the exact replica of them, and there's no world building and there's no security and heightened magical things, I don't know, around that? Like, that's like a big security risk. I'm sorry, it's a big security risk, and maybe not for like most people, but let's say, for an example, you have this magical dragon claw relic, it's mummified, and you are going to sell it, and you put the word out that you're going to sell it. Lo and behold, why the fuck don't you have somebody extra there sort of being like, are you impersonating this person? Can you prove that you're this person? Why do you not do that? It's just stupidity. This book is going to be the death of me. This book is going to be the death of me. I have 100 pages left to get through to part 4, right? I don't want to, I want to burn it. I want to burn it. People are saying tight, tense, smouldering, and wonderfully quick. No, it is wonderfully quick, but no, it fucking ain't tense. There is no emotional connection between Everin and Arcady. They are literally just two cardboard cutouts of people. Where's the politics? Where's the politics going into this? What is happening? Where is Everin battling with himself on being a fucking literal dragon, but also not a literal dragon because he can shapeshift into a patriot form that looks like human with wings? And I'm thinking Maximum Ride from James Patterson. Cool, right, which is cool in and of itself. But also, he's a literal fucking dragon. How the fuck is he just waltzing through the world, acting like a human person and being fine? And also, like, right. Arcady wants this clause. She can sell it and get a lot of money, so then she can go to this university place to figure out why some things to do with people in power and if they're hiding information, if they're blaming that shit, right? That's cool, okay? I like that. Why the fuck isn't that the main story? Why have we got to go on this stupid-ass fucking heist with characters I don't give a shit about, and there's hardly any romance? There's nothing that, there's no, I mean, I am a slow burn person, right? And you would think, man, this book is slow burn. Yeah, it is, except for the fact there's no chemistry between these two fucking ass characters. Where is it? Where's the tension? Where's the lingering looks? Where's the dreams you may have at night of wanting and this? Where's you denying what you want? Where is it showing these two characters being completely different to what the other one thinks? And then realizing, oh, my perception of this person is wrong, and growing from that and realizing, oh, maybe, like in Everin's case, maybe Arcady isn't such a wanker of a human being as he was believed every human person to be, considering they literally worship dragons as their gods, but it's because they drove the dragons out of their world in the first place, and they were the ones who killed them. Like, if you met somebody that was the literal reason why you and your whole family or your whole race had been destroyed and was no longer allowed home, you would not be happy with them. You would be literally hating them. I feel like this is meant to give an enemies to lovers. It is not giving enemies to lovers. It is giving shit upon shit. I cannot tell. I am baffled by this book and how people like, I mean, you're allowed to like what the fuck you want, I don't care, but also what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is this book? What? If I hadn't promised to give this book to my friend who likes romantic fantasy, this would be going down the drain. I don't even know what it's like. Hardly anything's happened as well. Hardly what happened in that part. Oh, they planned the heist, they learned how to dance, and Larkin wanted to see Everin and Arcady work together at this club thing with cards. That's fucking it. Oh, and then they kind of stole the dragon claw, but didn't steal the dragon claw, right? Right, because if you go, there's no mention of him in these pages of actually taking the dragon claw, because it failed. Of course it's going to fail. Like, as a writer, if they explain the plan to you, the plan's going to fail. If they don't explain the plan to you, the plan's going to succeed. That's just how it works. So I already knew it was going to fail, right? And I was like, how's it going to fail? I was like, oh, okay, cool. Not a problem. But he never picked up the dragon claw. It got into a guard's pocket, and then he never picked it up. And he was so worried about fucking Arcady, which I do not believe he cares one shit about anyway, because he shouldn't at this point. He really, he shouldn't. There's nothing indicating of what Arcady has done that makes everyone change his worldview on humans, because what they did to his literal entire race. Literally. So they might not have the dragon claw, but Arcady now knows, holy shit, the guy I have the hots for is a literal dragon. Jerry's a dragon, bitch. How the fuck? Faye, I hate you so much.
But you love me more, right? Right?
I'm sorry, I hate you so much. I don't want to read. Can somebody just ingest the rest of this book into my brain so I don't have to sit and read through this and what's going to happen? Because we have 100 pages left. Guarantee you, there's going to be no smart. Guarantee you, the dragons are going to come through the Feast of Flowers and just burn everything down. It's like, cool. And then Arcady's going to feel betrayed because, oh my god, I loved you. No, you didn't. And then everyone's going to be like, but I had to do it. But he's going to feel tortured about it, except I ain't going to believe he's going to be tortured about it, because there is nothing that Arcady has done that's made me think everyone would forgive her and care for her for what she literally has done. No, not her, but her people. Right? I marked this page. Right? You should take. Why the fuck would he offer her his magic? It just does not. Nothing in this book is making absolutely any fucking sense. And nothing. I just feel like this. Like Ella Lamb, I vaguely met her, like, talking to another author, and she just happened to be in the room. So am I counting that as meta? Maybe. Right? She's probably, is she? I don't know. They, she, her, I don't know, are probably a lovely person. I just wish they could write better emotional tension. That's what missing. There is no chemistry. There is no emotional tension. Where is the longing looks? Where is the kind of like, I don't want to like you, but I can feel you enter a room and turn and know you're there? Where is the building moments of learning about each other in a better way than just sitting in her childhood bedroom home and talking through a wall? That just doesn't make sense. Where is the point where Arcady is like breaking down and everyone's looking at her and then going, I could do nothing, or I could offer an olive branch, and he offers an olive branch? Where is these moments that are just so prevalent in the gay romance era? Like this is my massive issue with romantasy in a whole, right? The gay people, the gay writers, like Sawcross I'm fucking reading right now, Fred Mask, Stranger's Stubborn Endurance, A Taste of Golden Iron. They do it right. They do the slow burn properly. They do the emotional connection. They do the becoming and journeying together and building together and becoming closer through little increment moments, while also going on the plot of the book. All of a sudden, the characters realize when something happens, oh, I really care about this character. It's like, bitch, I knew you did because of everything. Where is that in it? Where is it? It's not here. It's nothing. Dry as a fucking bone. Nothing is there. This is like, I could be eating cardboard and having a better time. I need to finish this fucking book. I don't want to finish it. I really don't want to finish it. I just don't want to finish it. But I need to read 100 pages. So watch me hate on this book even more. I hope you've enjoyed this.
Standing ovation for Lady Mary's, everyone.
And I'm going to go and burn my eyes out and read some more.
Hey vlog, checking in again for part 3, which is Cohesion, and we have had the same amount of perspectives as before. We have had obviously Arcady and Everin, we've also had Soren, and we've also had Cassia. We have once again only had one Cassia perspective, and we have had 2 of Soren's, and the rest have been Arcady and Everin. And in this part we have seen the evolution of understanding between Arcady and Everin. They're beginning to understand each other as people more. And in the case of Everin, understanding that not all humans are evil and not actively despising Arcady, and also not judging Arcady for being a thief. We've also seen Arcady softening to Everin and understanding that not everyone is out to hurt them and potentially being able to trust them. And I have really liked seeing the progression of that. We had a slightly hot and spicy scene there that never actually really amounted to much in the end. The way that their touch is impacting their magic and give take of magic when they're touching also adds to the physical tension, which I'm finding very, very exciting. In this part, we have seen a bit more of Arcady's life. We've seen Arcady be someone around their people, around the people that they have spent a prolonged period of time with, and therefore how their behaviors change in their comfort zone. We have also seen some very interesting aspects with Soren, namely that they have been sent on a mission to go kill someone, but that someone is from where Soren is from and therefore looks like Soren. Soren doesn't look like the people that she's around. She comes from a different place. So therefore she's found someone that looks like her, and the way that that has made her feel. And then after that, we have had Magnus try and explain to Soren the reason for doing the things that he does. So I really appreciated that. I've really liked seeing the way the plague part was explained and the fact that we are trying not to let that happen again, and the impact that that has on people. I think that's been very interesting from Soren's perspective as well. And Soren being on a mission where she's supposed to murder someone and not murdering someone, I suppose is then going to have ramifications on at least their psyche and morality, if nothing else. I do think that in this part I would have maybe liked for there to be a little bit more development in the overall plot instead of in the smaller plots. And while I appreciate that probably what's going on with Soren is we're getting towards the end of the book, we're too far into the book at this point for me to want to still be tiptoeing around things, especially because it's only a duology. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to end, because it's only got 100 pages really to be able to conclude all of these open questions. So I'm very curious to see how I'm going to fare with that, whether or not I'm going to feel that it's rushed, because we've had such a gentle pace in a way throughout the first 3/4 of the story. Getting into my notes a little bit, I am really liking the way that we are developing further and further with the starveling concept. So the starveling being someone like a human who, because they have magic, if they don't eat, then the magic kind of takes over and possesses them. It's a direct consequence of magic, which I always really like, because I like magic that has consequences. It makes it not limitless. The setting in the story, when we are in the more slum-like, poorer area of this, it's giving me slight, is it Dagusta in Six of Crows? It's been a while. Wherever the Six of Crows takes place, the pseudo-Dutch-inspired part of Six of Crows world, is giving me that vibe, that underbelly, that group of people who are kind of all working together but also are more than happy to stab each other in the back. So like, we're allies while necessary and you're on your own the rest of the time. I really like that as well. So you have this group of people that are called the Mavericks, and they do take care of each other, but they will like take care of someone who is poor and have them work with them. But if you're not part of the family, then you're kind of up for grabs. And I really do appreciate that depiction of they're not bad people, but they're definitely not good people. They are a product of a failed society. I really did like the way that we had brief mentions of other cultures through Soren's perspective as well. I think that on a cultural scale, having depictions of clearly other peoples was really well introduced, because it is just, I've not seen anyone that looks like me before. There was no other need for anything else, and yet it allows us to know that there is quite a diverse world out there in a really simplistic way, and I really did appreciate that too. And I think my biggest takeaway from this part was that I am very much enjoying the discussions around religion and religious bigotry, and the way that religion waves into politics, the way that that then becomes part of the power struggle, and the way that that can ruin societies just as much as hierarchies in other areas do. So I am really appreciating the way that the conversations, especially around Magnus, but in general just around this society and its dependence on religion, the way that all of that is panning out, I am really appreciating. So a very good part. Again, I am curious to see how I'm going to fare with it. I didn't do a huge amount of tabbing on this one. Basically, the author did a very good job of making Arcady seem like they're at home while also on edge all at the same time. We had a moment where Cassia actually happened to be scrying, and they're somewhat scrying through Soren. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to pan out eventually. I've got a lot of things that I am indeed very curious about within the book. I had an incredible line here that I wanted to share, which was, "It's easier to bury the attraction deep down with all the other emotions I wasn't brave enough to face. It certainly had plenty of company." I'm really liking the prose style in this story. So there are lots of prose. Again, I have really liked this part, but I am very concerned that I am going to dislike the ending, because it's either going to be rushed or this book won't have really drawn any conclusions, and with it being a duology, that's quite risky. So there's a lot hinging on this last part, so we'll see how I fare. This author could just be an absolute genius and do the impossible. We shall see. But for now, I'm having a good time.
Hello there, you may remember this get-up. This is Ray from the future, now in the present. I've just finished, well, I haven't just finished, it was a few days ago, but it's been a heat wave here in the UK, so everybody's just been lying down in front of fans and complaining for the last week, really. It's been horrible. Anyway, I've a few days ago finished part 3 of Dragonfall, and let's just say the heist didn't go very well. And I'm really, really hoping, because this does happen a lot in a lot of books, in a lot of films, I'm really hoping that L.R. Lamb doesn't pull the whole, "Oh, look what I've got in my pocket. I just managed to squirrel away this dragon relic that we were going in to steal. It just happens that I managed to kind of squirrel it back before we fell out the window and flew away." I'm hoping that this is genuinely a twist and a not so brilliant failed heist. I don't like it when things wrap up too neatly. It was part of what I had a bit of a problem with our last read. Everything did seem to be a little bit convenient. They infiltrated the auction as in disguise and planned to purchase this claw. So have who we suspect is Soren's boss. What's his name? Begins with M. Magnus. Magnus is also bidding heavily for said claw. They paid a lot of Wraithright for it, whatever Wraithright are. I can't do the conversions because it's obviously a fantasy currency. So Magnus eventually lost out, and they go up to the tower to basically do a switcheroo once they get introduced to what they have purchased and give them their deposit, etc. But things go awry quite quickly. I think it's very much a kind of, "Oh no, the jewels are fake! Oh my goodness, is that a dragon?" So yeah, it all goes very quickly, not so good. Yeah, so they're flying out the window, and Arcady finally finds out that the guy that they've been attracted to is in fact a dragon. How will this affect things going forward? Is that a pro or a con? I don't know. Yeah, wait till they find out that he's been planning to eat them. Not eat them, kill them. Need to edit this. Anyway, I'm actually really loving this book. I'm really loving the vibes. I'm loving the heist. I love any kind of semi-masked ball going on. This is all the sort of aesthetic that I really go for. So although I do roll my eyes a little bit at the romance, because, you know, I mean, I by the way, I might be wearing an Akatar hoodie, but I haven't actually read it. So if I'm here talking about all the corny elements and you're like, "Well, Ray, you're wearing an Akatar," I haven't read it. I don't know. You know, I might be I think when it comes to romance, I like a bit of something different. I like a bit of something, you know, rather than just two people who were like, "Oh, he was fit, they were fit," you know. It's all very basic, and I'm actually interested in the world a lot more than, you know, I wish that all the Soren stuff was fleshed out. Soren is an interesting character, you know. She's going around assassinating people, stealing back relics. I wish there were more chapters with her, to be fair. I wouldn't mind it being bulked out for there to be you know, a bit more detail and a bit more of that. We have another whole section, so I would guess there has been some foreshadowing, so I'm going to guess that they both end up lying down on some kind of thing and with a connection going, you know, like Emberclaw, not Emberclaw, like Everon's pre-premonition. So I have a feeling that, you know, that we know where this one's going to end up. And then there is a sequel, so it will be a duology. I will probably, when I finish this, because it's already out, I will probably go straight into it and read the next one. So I'm obviously compelled, I'm obviously enjoying it, and yeah, let's just see what happens in part 4. I like a bit more yearning. I like it to take a bit longer for them to, you know, that kind of insta attraction. I like a slow burn. But yes, I'm enjoying the book. Good choice so far, Faye. And let's see where we go now.
Okay, well, this isn't gonna be a very long check-in from me. I finished part 3. They're working together. They're doing the heist. I'm just really so bored. I will say the last like 2 chapters of this section were pretty short, and they were at this auction trying to buy a dragon claw, and I don't know, there's some kind of magic. Something happened with the dragon claw, and then it was like a fight broke loose over the dragon claw situation. So Everin and Arcady were like fighting together, trying to work together to get out of this room. Then the section ended. So like that was mildly interesting, but because I just don't care about the characters like literally at all, even though I feel like that moment should have been exciting, it wasn't. And yeah, I'm not hopeful. I feel like the next bit is either going to have a lot of action that excites me, but I still don't care about the characters, or it's just going to keep being boring because I don't care about the characters. So I'll just check in with you again once I finish the book.
Yeah, so turns out he did sneak the claw back. How convenient. Why do they always do this? Why? Every single book it's like, oh, look what I've got in my pocket. Why? This better be good.
Hi, it's me again. So I finished Dragonfall like 24 hours ago. It was just about this time last night. And I don't really have much to say that I haven't already said. We did finally learn what this bond was that kind of appeared between them at the beginning. Apparently it's supposed to be the bond between a dragon and their rider from way back when these two races actually got along, but you know, apparently that's not a thing now. And there was more romance scenes that I felt nothing for. Unfortunately, I just didn't care about them individually, so I really didn't care about them together either. Like, I feel like an attempt was made at chemistry, and I think if I liked the characters, I would have enjoyed their romance aspect of it. However, I didn't like the characters. I'm still not even sure why he was going after the prophecy, literally in like chapter 1, and I don't even know, like, there was such little description about what was actually happening other than him like flying into a storm. Like, what did his surroundings look like? We never got to learn about the world that he comes from, just that it's this world of dragons. And then we get some POVs, like his mom or his sister or whatever, and like even then, like it's just dialogue. It's just them talking about like what they want to do, and like we don't learn anything at all actually about where these dragons are from, which is crazy because like by the end there's such a rushed like tone because it's like we got to get this like over with so the dragons can come into the world. And it's like we could have had moments of getting to know those dragons and like having this like dangerous looming over us with their POV, like showcasing like this world that they're in and how the dragons are so different from the humans. And like, I don't know, maybe they're in a world of like fire and brimstone and like they want to get back to the human world because it's like a nicer place to live. Like there was nothing. I like, why does his mom want to come back? Like other than to just kill people? Like, but what's the motive? Do they want to leave their world because their world sucks? Is she just a bitch? Like, I don't know. I literally don't know. Other than like, I guess dragons but that was so long ago. I don't know, she's holding a grudge apparently. I also think it was kind of wild how there was so much happening in this last part that like I should have been on the edge of my seat. I should have been like nail biting, you know, like I really should have felt the tension and I should have been like so hyped up and ready for this climax. But there wasn't enough buildup in the beginning, and I feel like because the book was only like 330 pages, we didn't get enough exposition. We didn't get to know the characters. We didn't get to know the world. We didn't get to understand the stakes and what was going on, and we didn't get to feel that sense of danger. So it's just like la da 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 da, boring, 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 kind of a heist. Oh my god, danger! And it's like, okay, would have been nice if this was more cohesive. I feel like I sound like I'm being really harsh on it, but that's just because I think it had potential and it let me down. It let me down a lot. So to absolutely nobody's surprise, I'm probably gonna give this a 2 stars. And the only reason it's not a 1 star is because of the scene with Everin talking to Muriel, who was the prostitute at the brothel, about gender, and just like that whole scene and conversation. They had this mutual respect for each other, and the way that this like neutrality of gender was explained, and how there's like a sign that you can do with your hands to indicate like your preferred pronouns. Like that was the coolest thing in this entire book. And this book is about dragons. There's a heist. There's a romance. And the best part was him talking to a prostitute. So yeah, I'm giving it 2 stars for Muriel alone. And this is book 1 in a series, and I'm sorry to say I definitely will not be continuing.
Not to worry, I'm sure Mare will.
It's going to be really interesting when I finally get to see what everyone else thinks of this book, because I don't know. They're not telling me. We're not telling each other. Although I did tell them like, hey guys, like no spoilers, but wish I could stop reading this book. So I think it's safe to say everybody kind of knows that I'm bored out of my skull. I'm so glad that this is over. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I had 10 minutes left in the audiobook, and I looked in the mirror at myself and I was like, girl, we don't care. And I DNF'd it. I DNF'd technically with the 10 minutes to go. Not sorry about it either. Hey, I love you.
Why does that never sound like a good thing?
I understand why you picked this book. The synopsis sounded really good. It's one that I already had on my TBR. I was planning on reading it eventually anyways, so don't beat yourself up over the fact that I suffered through the entire book, because I would have probably picked it up anyway because it's got dragons in it. Thanks so much for having me on your channel. Hopefully everybody else liked this more than I did. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Hello everybody! So I have finished Dragonfall. I don't know why I'm holding up the hardback, because I read it in paperback, even though this is a glorious edition. And I really liked this. I thought it was really good. But by the end, I felt like this book was just getting started. I felt like this whole world has so much more to give. It was planned to be a trilogy, but now it is a completed duology, so I'm not sure how they're going to like satisfy me in in just this amount of pages.
Don't say a dick joke. Don't say a dick joke. Oh shit.
So we've got all the Bond stuff and the romance and the heist and, you know, all of that. We've got all the setup, but at the end we get a couple of bombshells dropped. It turns out that the last male dragon actually didn't die in flames after all. It actually is none other than Magnus. I need to know more of Sorin's story. I want to know what goes on from here with, you know, with Sorin and Magnus's story. And also I want, like, Larkin pulls a bit of a kind of, screw you, to, you know, at the end there. She basically breaks into Arcadie's home and just gives her a few coins and is like, yeah, it's more than you deserve. Love and kisses. So I want to know what happens with Larkin next. So there are lots of characters that I feel like I want more from these characters. I want this world to be built up and to be built out and for there to be more going on. So I'm not sure how well this duology is going to wrap up and satisfy my curiosity that is now kind of built up. I think if I just finished this book and there were another 2 volumes to go, I would feel a little bit more optimistic. And I don't know if this is just because I like trilogies. There's a kind of a a building and a kind of flow to a trilogy that kind of works for me. So I'm a little bit concerned that a duology, though I have read good duologies before, 2 good duologies, the Strange the Dreamer, Muse of Nightmares duology, fantastic, didn't need to be any longer, but I would be quite happy to revisit Weep. And there's like a romance, an email romance, gosh, that sounds incredibly 90s, doesn't it? There's an email romance by Daniel Glatower, that is a duology, or a it's called, what's it called? Love Virtually. Oh my goodness, I'm making this sound absolutely naff, aren't I? But that had a sequel and, you know, wrapped up as a nice tight little duology. So I'm hoping this will do the same, but I'm a little bit like, this has just whet my appetite and it's just getting started now. So if you're reaching momentum at this point, like, I feel like I want more. So, and that's a good thing. Like, if you finish a book and you're like, wow, I want some more of this, then that is usually a good thing. I did find myself starting to care by the end. Some of the world building was a little bit sloppy. I'm not sure I understand all of it. I'm hoping that it all becomes a lot more obvious. And sometimes I think it had to be explained to me a little bit what was supposed to have happened there, especially all that business with Everin and Arcady at the end. Like, what was the betrayal? What exactly was supposed to be going on here, because I found it a little bit confusing. But still, this was a book with brilliant vibes, lots going on, characters that I liked by the end and was just kind of starting to warm to. So yeah, it was actually a romantasy book this time.
Rachel's lied to me.
Although I wouldn't say this is a typical romantasy in that there was a romance, but it didn't feel like if you're not into romance, you'd probably still enjoy this book as a fantasy. I didn't feel like it was too central. Because if a book is literally just a romance, will they get together, won't they? I find that quite, you know, I find myself getting frustrated. So I think there was enough here in terms of story, in terms of world building. There was enough to keep me interested as someone who doesn't traditionally go for that sort of thing. Or maybe I've just been conditioned to think that all romantasy should basically just be really smutty. And this was quite PG. I mean, even like books like Voyage of the Damned that have like a side romance element still get a little bit kind of saucy by the end. And, you know, this was definitely romance rather than straight up erotica. But that's okay, that's fine. I want to show you how cute these look together on my shelf. I also want to say, because there's this bit at the end where the dragons are trying to get through from the other world through the veil, and basically Everin's decided that either he's got to open the veil and kill Arcady or let Arcady die, let all his, basically the dragons, let them not get through and either perish or go back or whatever. I found myself wanting him to like open the veil. Like, I don't know if this is anything towards kind of Arcady or their bond or anything like that, but when you've got a bunch of creatures trying to get through and trying to stick their nose through, like, your urge is to kind of save them, isn't it? I'm not saying that everyone should have let Arcady perish, and I'm not saying, you know, but I don't know, they're dragons. They're cool. And also, like, the humans banished them in the first place, so, like, you know, it's not like they don't have a plan. I mean, can't they all just get along? Can't they all just live harmoniously together back in the world and fight the weird smoke demons like they were doing before? Can't they do that? That's ideally what would have happened. But like, I feel like I'm reviewing half a story here. We haven't got to the end of the duology yet. We haven't got to the end of what's happened. So I will probably go straight into it. I enjoyed it enough, and I know that if I don't go straight into it, I'll probably just read something else. Although we will be reading something else next, because guess whose turn it is to host next? Wait till you find out what I've picked. I'm hoping you all enjoy that too. Anyway, it's been a blast, and It's been great.
Hey vlog, here for my final check-in of Dragonfall. This one I ended up giving a 4-star rating. I really did enjoy this book. I think that for me in this part, one of my favorite scenes is when Arcady discovers that Everin is a dragon, because it could have been this really melodramatic, romantic moment that you get in the third act breakups of lots of romances, and you can see obviously that Arcady on the one hand feels betrayed. It's like, well, you didn't tell me the truth, you've been hiding who you are. But on the other hand, Arcady has been taught to revere dragons as some kind of deity. So then they're asking Everin if Everin's a deity, and Everin is very much like, no, I'm definitely not a deity. And a lot of the interaction there was actually very vulnerable. You know, you have Everin saying, well, I was afraid that you would reject me, that you would fear me, that you would loathe me if you knew what I was. So there's a lot of vulnerability still there, and it's kind of the most honest they ever are. And I think that it's a really bonding moment between the two. The ending did, as I predicted from the end of part 3, the ending did feel a bit rushed. I definitely felt like the pacing was a bit wonky on this one, because we had a very not slow story, but it's like with a video game and there's lots of side plots and then you actually complete the main quest really quickly, is kind of how it felt. So I would have liked the pacing to be a little bit cleaner and a little bit more everything is pushing towards the main goal, which it kind of is, don't get me wrong, but I just would have liked there to be more, I suppose. The conclusion was an interesting one, because now it's made me very curious to see where we're going to go with book 2 and how that's going to work. So yeah, I love this couple. I wouldn't say that it's like I am hugely, heavily, incredibly invested in the romance between the two. I like the two as separate people, and I have enjoyed watching them come together, which is a very interesting experience, I think, when it comes to talking about romance, because I think a lot of the time in romance, we're willing to overlook really problematic things or really toxic things on the basis that we are just so invested in the burning desire for this couple to get together, which isn't really the case in this one. I am really glad that we had this slow build up where they were attracted to each other, but they also took the time to work out some things on their own within themselves throughout the story. And because of the other person, they are working on themselves because of the other person. And I always love a romance that does that. So I am very excited to continue this series, and very, very excited to see how the girls fared with this one, because like I said, the writing style is quite a lot. I did really like the questions posed by both Soren and Magnus, because we did get a Magnus perspective at the end of this book. So I really did like the questions that were asked of both Soren and Magnus's perspectives and on their morality, on what they're trying to accomplish, and the justification of their actions. I thought that that was really well handled, and especially because Soren has tethered her morality to Magnus. So I thought it was an interesting note to end it on, I suppose. So I'm very excited to see hopefully how that further evolves in the next book, with the resolution that we had of Soren becoming an eye for Magnus, but then also Magnus himself being revealed to be a dragon has been very interesting, a very interesting exploration of the ending. So I am very excited to see how this book tethers into the sequel and what the resolution could possibly be, especially with it only being a duology and it initially being planned to be a trilogy, because it definitely says somewhere. So in the front here it says Dragon Scales Trilogy, but then when Emberclaw came out, which is the sequel, it says the conclusion to the Dragon Scales duology. So there's not going to be a third book like was initially planned. So that's going to be interesting. I'm wondering if the author felt like the second book that they were writing ended up feeling a bit middle book syndrome and has just kind of mushed the two together. I don't know. Very excited to see how this goes. Very excited for the girls' thoughts. I'm very excited for your thoughts.
You can do it. It's just a book. You can do it. You can do it. It's a book. It's a book. It's nothing. It's going to be fine. You can do it. You can do it. You can. No. You can. Come on. Psycho. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. 100 pages. 100. It's just 100 pages. It's just so bad. It's one word at a time, and you'll be fine. It's just 100 pages. Nope. Oh no, Max. You're eating my book. I can't finish it. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Faye. I can't read. Poodle is eating my book. Oh no. The chicken's eating my book. I can't read it anymore. This was an accident, I swear. My fingers slipped. I'm sorry. I don't think I can finish it.
It's done.
So, hi. It is finished. As you saw me yeeted across the garden. I don't have a pond to yeet it across. If I did, I would be. I have finished it. I have finished Dragonfall. I have finished it. And oh my god. That was one of the worst romance books I have ever read. There was no tension between the two main characters. The love interest, there was nothing there. I honestly, I do not understand, especially as L.L. Lamb has written books before, how an author can write a romance that is as dry as a Sahara Desert. Part 4. It was the best part out of all of them. I liked Everin more than anything. Some of the scenes coming up, like Arcady realizing, maybe not necessarily that scene, like when Arcady is talking to Everin, realizing, holy shit, he's a dragon. That could have been done, I think, with a little bit more tension and something a bit more there, like a little bit more meat. But the kind of, I can see what L.L. Lamb was trying to do, how they were trying to show this tortured couple of not being able to be together because of prophecy, but also because of the world, everything that's going on, and it just fell apart because there was nothing there to hold it together to begin with. Like the ending scenes with everyone coming to Arcady's rescue when they realise the exchange for the claw has gone bad, and then holy shit, the dragon's trying to come through the veil, and them trying to kind of stop it in a sense. And like that made sense kind of how they were trying to stop it, but what didn't was kind of like the emotional impact. There was a line I think everyone said, like he wished he could tell like you that I don't hate you, and perhaps it's something more than that, right? And I'm like, but there's nothing on the page showing that. Nothing, literally there's nothing there that's showing that either of those two characters give two shits about each other. There was no bonding moment between them. There was no, like, it's just, I'm beyond fucking baffled. Absolutely, like, how? I don't understand. I was reading Goodreads 1-star reviews last night when I last spoke to you, because I just had to get this done. I needed to get it. I could not. I've been reading it for fucking weeks. Could not. And I was reading Goodreads 1-star reviews to give me life. Some of them, I was like, I'm fucking there with you. Yep, please, give me the hate on Arcady, please. I cannot stand her. I cannot. I don't know what it is. The characters are bland. I don't understand Soren's POV, even though I do like her, but I feel like, especially the fact that L.L. Lamb has said that she thanks Robin Hobb a couple of times, and she's using the Realm of the Eldlings as a big inspiration, which I can see it. It's a slap on the nose in a very cheapskate way of Fitz and Chade, but it was Soren and Magnus, and it doesn't work. It doesn't, like, if you're going to use something as inspiration, do it fucking well, and don't butcher it. This is butchering the Realm of the Eldlings, a beloved series. I can't wait to hear what Laura thinks of this. I really can't. I'm waiting for that rant. Please, Laura, give me that rant on this book about how it's inspired by, well, not inspired, but kind of by Realm of the Eldlings, and it's done it so poorly, and it angered me so much. This rage fucking rage. But there were bits that I can kind of see if it had a really good setup, really good chemistry between the two characters. Have you shown the bonding moments? Actually do what you meant to fucking do in the book, right? Write the romance. If that had the ending part, yeah, I could see. I would have been tortured. These characters can't be together. Oh no! Where I'm just like, fucking die. Just kill Arcady. I'm literally sitting there screaming at everyone. Just take her magic, kill her, let the dragons come through and burn everything. Do it. Do it. Do it. And he didn't do it. He didn't do it. He chickened out. He chickened out. Because he loves her. No, he doesn't. He does not. I do not for 1 second believe that. But he is now left trapped in Verceline. And all the other dragons hate him, and he's like, trust me, this is not what's meant to happen. And it's, yeah, he's imprisoned, which I kind of expected. What I would have liked is if Magnus had imprisoned him. That would have been kind of cool, because it's kind of like, well, no one knows where he is. Like, Arcady would think that he would be in Verceline. Verceline people wouldn't know. And then Magnus, which obviously the fuck is the dragon. Like, what's his name? Amil. Amil? Yes, Amil. This is covered in grass now. Amil. Of course he was that dragon. Of course. That was so obvious. I don't understand how people didn't see that coming. This big plot twist. No, it wasn't it wasn't. It was obvious from the start. I knew he was sus from the beginning, and this just proved it, right? And it just makes, he's interesting. I want to read about him. I don't want to read about fucking Arcady. This was terrible. I am so glad this is over. I bloody hate you, Faye, for making me read this book.
But you love me.
Some of this stuff was kind of like cool and interesting at the end, like with the Magnus, and then kind of Soren, but kind of how they're trying to come through the veil. That was kind of cool. The heist, unnecessary, completely unnecessary, was not needed. Don't give two shits about them. I don't really think there's anything good I can say about this book. I liked Everin, and I think it should have just been his POV the whole way throughout this. I think that would have just made things a lot better, because especially if you're going with the bond with the dragons, it just would have worked. It just would have worked. What else can I say about this? It's not going to sound like I'm ranting. I don't know. It was so bad. I would rather claw my eyes out with glass than read this again. I'm so glad it was over, and I've never read a romance so fucking dry. And we didn't even get any dragon smut. There was nothing there. There was no, all of this shit I read, and there was no dragon smut. Nothing. And I'm like, that's like the claw I was clinging to be like, at least be something good. But then again, would it be good because of the fact that I couldn't even believe they even liked each other in the first place? Because there was no build-up to the Everin hating all of her kind to suddenly liking her and then giving her his magic and saving her life. There was nothing there. There was nothing there. Just nothing. And do I burn it? Do I burn it? No. No, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drown it.
And that's all for this video, folks. That is everything. Thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you so much for not suing for damages. And we will be in touch with our lawyers about the book. Aside from that, I hope that you have enjoyed watching half of us have a wonderful time, half of us suffer. Isn't that just how friendship groups work? Wasn't this just a lovely experience? I'm sure that everyone involved is doing perfectly fine. I will leave everyone's channels linked down below so that you can ascertain that they are definitely all still alive and as sane as they were before they encountered this book. And if you would like to check out the previous video in which we all read Green Teeth together, which has been referenced several times throughout this video, it is of course in the cards and in the description as well. And yes, let me know if you have read this book, and if you didn't like it, please keep it to yourself. I'm in enough trouble. But that is all from us. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll hopefully catch you in the next one, which will be over on Ray's channel sometime soon. Bye!